This video provides some simple tips on how to look for thrips in your glasshouse. Thrips are a common glasshouse pest that can damage leaves, flowers and developing fruit. Thrips feed on leaf and flower tissue, piercing and sucking out the plant cell contents. They can cause cosmetic damage to fruit, leaf distortion and stunting of new growth. In New Zealand production glasshouses and protected crops, there are several thrips species you'll encounter, the most common being greenhouse thrips, onion thrips and western flower thrips. There are also a number of other thrips pests which so far we are fortunate not to have established in New Zealand. The simple methods in this video will show you how to look for and collect thrips. It's a good idea if you see excessive or increased damage to have the identity of the thrips checked. Before you begin looking for thrips, you'll need some equipment. Protective clothing, for example a white disposable suit or lab coat and foot covers. This makes it easy to see any thrips that may land on you, and disposable is good so you can change between rooms to prevent moving thrips between houses. Small paintbrush for collecting thrips and tapping foliage. Magnifying lens. Antibacterial wipes for wiping down your tray or plate between areas. Sample bottle or vials. Labels. Marker pen or pencil. Ethanol or alcohol. You can use sticky boards to give you an indication of thrips infestation levels in your glasshouse, but they're not a good way to collect specimens for identification. It's best to do this manually. Select a plant and visually inspect several randomly selected leaves using a handheld magnifying lens. Check both mature and newer growth. Look at the undersides of new or old leaves, especially alongside the midribs and veins where damage can occur. Thrips eggs can be laid on or into leaves and buds. Larvae in adult stages are usually found on the leaf surface or within the bud or flower. Adult thrips are very small, so a magnifying glass is very useful. Thrips larvae are usually lighter and can be pale brown, yellow or cream coloured. Feeding damage can include silvering of leaves, black or brown stripes, and the presence of fecal matter. Water-stressed plants and over-fertilised plants, especially with nitrogen, are attractive to thrips, so target those if you know where they are. Visual inspection may not be sufficient to detect low population levels of thrips, in which case gently tapping leaves to dislodge any thrips is useful. Hold a white plate or tray beneath the leaves you're inspecting and gently tap the stem of the plant with a small paintbrush handle. If you're inspecting ornamentals with hardier stems and foliage, you can use a larger stick, tapping with more force, but be careful not to damage the plant. Inspect the plate or tray for any thrips that may have fallen from the plant. To collect thrips from the leaf or tray, dip your brush into ethanol, or you can use water with a drop of detergent in it to break the surface tension. Use your brush to gently sweep up the thrips, then dip the brush back into the ethanol or detergent water again to deposit it in the vial. Label samples or use a permanent marker to write directly onto the vial. You can also pick off a whole leaf with thrips on it and place this into a Ziploc bag, later put the bag into a freezer to kill the thrips. There are pest thrip species that are not yet found in New Zealand, and these look very similar to species already here. If you see unusually high numbers of thrips or increased damage to plants, it's a good idea to get the identity of the thrips checked. If you've collected a specimen you'd like identified, contact your usual pest service provider, or you can find a list of service providers on your industry website. If it turns out the thrips are a possible biosecurity concern, the provider will be able to work with the Ministry for Primary Industries.